Hi, I'm here to read Chapter 2, Space Hotel USA. So, last time we met, the Great Glass Elevator went way too far, and they are in outer space. Mr. Wonka's Great Glass Elevator was not the only thing orbiting the Earth at that particular time. 2 days before, the United States of America had successfully launched its first space hotel, a gigantic sausage-shaped capsule, no less than 1,000 feet long. It was called Space Hotel USA, and it was the marvel of the space age. It had inside it a tennis court, a swimming pool, a gymnasium, a children's playroom, and 500 luxury bedrooms, each with a private bath. It was fully air conditioned. It was also equipped with a gravity making machine so that you didn't float about inside it. You walk normally. This extraordinary object was now speeding round and round the Earth at a height of 240 miles. Guests were to be taken up and down by a taxi service of small capsules blasting off from Cape Kennedy every hour on the hour, Mondays to Fridays. But as yet, there was nobody on board at all, not even an astronaut. The reason for this was that no one had really believed such an enormous thing would ever get off the ground without blowing up. But the launching had been a great success, and now that the space hotel was safely in orbit, there was a tremendous hustle and bustle to send up the first guests. It was rumored that the President of the United States himself was going to be among the first to stay in the hotel. And of course, there was a mad rush by all sorts of other people across the world to book rooms. Several kings and queens had cabled the White House in Washington for reservations, and a Texas millionaire called Orson Clark, who was about to marry a Hollywood starlet called Helen Highwater, was offering $100,000 a day for the honeymoon suite. But you cannot send guests to a hotel unless there are lots of people there to look after them, and that explains why there was yet another interesting object orbiting the Earth at the moment. This was a large transport capsule containing the entire staff for Space Hotel USA. There were managers, assistant managers, desk clerks, waitresses, bellboys, chambermaids, pastry chefs, and hall porters. The capsule they were traveling in manned by three famous astronauts, Shuckworth, Shanks, and Showler, all of them handsome, clever, and brave. In exactly 1 hour, said Shuckworth, speaking to the passengers over the loudspeaker, we shall link up with the Space Hotel USA. Your happy home for the next 10 years, and any moment now, if you look straight ahead, you should catch your first glimpse of the magnificent spaceship. Aha! I see something there. That must be it. Folks, there's definitely something up there ahead of us. Shuckworth, Shanks, and Showler, as well as the managers, assistant managers, desk clerks, waitresses, bellboys, chambermaids, pastry chefs, and hall porters all stared excitedly through the window. Shuckworth fired a couple of small rockets to make the capsule go faster, and they began to catch up very quickly. Hey, yelled Showler. That isn't our space hotel. Holy rats, cried Shanks. What in the name of Nebuchadnezzar is that? Quick, give me the telescope, yelled Shuckworth. With one hand, he focused the telescope, and with the other, he flipped the control, connecting him to the ground control. Hello, Houston, he cried into the mic. There's something crazy going up here. There's a thing orbiting ahead of us, and it's not like any spaceship I've ever seen, that's for sure. Describe it at once, ordered ground control in Houston. It's all made of glass, and it's kind of square, and it's got lots floating about like fish in a tank. How many astronauts on board? None, said Shuckworth. They can't possibly be astronauts. What makes you say that? Because at least 3 of them are in nightshirts. Don't be a fool, Shuckworth, snapped ground control. Pull yourself together, man. This is serious. I swear it, cried poor Shuckworth. There's 3 of them in nightshirts, 2 old women and 1 old man. I can see them clearly. I can even see their faces. Jeepers, they're older than Moses. They're about 90 years old. You've gone mad, Shuckworth, shouted ground control. You're fired. Give me Shanks. Shanks speaking, said Shanks. Now listen here, Houston. There's these 3 old birds in nightshirts floating around in this crazy glass box, and there's a funny little guy with a pointed beard wearing a black top hat and a plum-covered velvet tail coat and bottle green trousers. Stop! Screamed ground control. That's not all, said Shanks. There's also a little boy, about 10 years old. There's no boy, you idiot, shouted ground control. That's an astronaut in disguise. It's a midget astronaut dressed up as a little boy. Those old people are astronauts too. They're all in disguise. But who are they? Cried Shanks. How the heck would I know? Said Ground Control. Are they heading for our space hotel? That's Shanks. I can see the space hotel now about a mile ahead. They're going to blow it up, yelled Ground Control. That is desperate. This is... Suddenly, his voice was cut off, and Shanks heard another, quite different voice in his earphones. It was deep and rasping. I'll take charge of this, said the deep, rasping voice. Are you there, Shanks? Of course I'm here, said Shanks. How dare you butt in? Keep your big nose out of this. Who are you, anyway? This is the President of the United States, said the voice. And this is the Wizard of Oz, said Shanks. Who are you kidding? Cut the piffle, Shanks, snapped the President. This is a national emergency. Good grief, said Shanks, turning to Shuckworth and Showler. It really is the President. It's President Gillygrass himself. Well, hello there, Mr. President, sir. How are you today? Many. How many people are there in that glass capsule? Rasped the President. 8, said Shanks. All floating. Floating? There are the 3 astronauts. We're outside the pool of gravity up here, Mr. President. Everything floats. We'd be floating ourselves if we weren't strapped down. Didn't you know that? Of course I knew that, said the President. What else can you tell me about the glass capsule? There's a bed in it, said Shanks. A big double bed, and that's floating too. A bed? Barked the President. Who ever heard of a bed in a spacecraft? I swear it's a bed, said Shanks. You must be loopy, Shanks, declared the President. You're dotty as a donut. Let me talk to Showler. Showler here, Mr. President, said Showler, taking the mic from Shanks. It is a great honor to talk to you, Mr. President, sir. Oh, shut up, said the President. Just tell me what you see. It's a bed, all right, Mr. President. I can see it through my telescope. It's got sheets and blankets and a mattress. That's not a bed, you driveling thickwit, yelled the President. Can't you understand? It's a trick. It's a bomb. It's a bomb disguised as a bed. They're going to blow up our magnificent space hotel. Who's they, Mr. President, sir? Said Showler. Don't talk so much and let me think, said the President. There were a few moments of silence. Showler waited tensely. So did Shanks and Shuckworth. So did the managers and assistant managers and desk clerks and waitresses and bellboys and chambermaids and pastry chefs and hall porters. And down in the huge control room at Houston, 100 controllers sat motionless in front of their dials and monitors, waiting to see what orders the President would give next to the astronauts. I've just thought of something, said the President. Don't you have a television camera up there on the front of your spacecraft, Showler? Sure do, Mr. President. Then switch it on, you nit, and let us all down here get a look at this object. I never thought of that, said Showler. No wonder you're the President. Here goes. He reached out and switched on the TV camera in the nose of the spacecraft, and at that moment, 500 million people all over the world who had been listening in on their radios rushed to their television sets. On their screens, they saw exactly what Shuckworth and Shanks and Showler were seeing, a weird glass box in splendid orbit around the Earth. And inside the box, seen not too clearly, but seen nonetheless, were 7 grown-ups and 1 small boy in a big double bed, all floating. 3 of the grown-ups were bare-legged and wearing nightshirts, and far off in the distance beyond the black glass box, the TV watchers could see the enormous, glistening, silvery shape of Space Hotel USA. But it was the sinister glass box itself that everyone was staring at, and the cargo of sinister creatures inside it. 8 astronauts so tough and strong they didn't even want to wear spacesuits. Who were these people, and where did they come from? And what in heaven's name was that big evil-looking thing disguised as a double bed? The President had said it was a bomb, and he was probably right. But what were they going to do with it? All across America and Canada and Russia and Japan and India and China and Africa and England and France and Germany and everywhere in the world, a kind of panic began to take hold for the television watchers. Keep well clear of them, Showler, ordered the President over the radio link. Sure will, Mr. President, Showler answered. I sure will. All right. I'm going to stop there. It's getting pretty excited. They do not know why those people are in the glass elevator. We will find out what they are going to do.